For over 5 centuries, England has been haunted by a chilling question. What happened to the princes in the Tower? The story has echoed through the ages, whispered in corridors and debated in classrooms, capturing the imagination of all who hear it. 2 young heirs vanished within the stone walls of the Tower of London, never to be seen alive again. Their laughter and footsteps faded into silence, leaving behind only questions and sorrow. Their disappearance is more than a historical puzzle. It's a story of power, betrayal, and lost innocence. The crown they should have worn became a symbol of shattered hopes and ruthless ambition. The fate of Edward V and his brother Richard, Duke of York, remains unsolved, a wound in the national memory. Their names are etched in stone, but their story is written in shadows. We return to this mystery, piecing together fragments deliberately scattered by those in power. Every document, every rumor, every faded letter is a clue in a puzzle that refuses to be solved. The setup is simple. 2 princes, rightful heirs, disappear. But beneath that simplicity lies a labyrinth of secrets, motives, and hidden fears. The details are endlessly complex. Each new discovery seems to raise more questions than it answers, deepening the enigma. Was their ambitious uncle responsible, or is there another explanation buried beneath centuries of rumor and propaganda? The suspects are many and the motives tangled. This is not just a tale from the past, it feels immediate, personal, and deeply human. The loss of 2 children resonates across time, stirring empathy and outrage. The stakes were enormous: the future of a dynasty, the stability of a kingdom, and the lives of 2 children. The fate of a nation hung in the balance, shaped by choices made in shadowed rooms. No confession, no eyewitness, just chronicles written with political motives and bones found centuries later. The truth is elusive, hidden beneath layers of secrecy and time. The story remains a battleground for historians and amateur sleuths alike. Each brings their own theories, their own hopes of finally solving the riddle. Each generation re-examines the evidence, hoping to finally illuminate the shadows of the Tower. The search for answers continues, undimmed by the passage of centuries. The silence that followed their disappearance is as deafening now as it was then. The mystery endures, inviting us to look closer, to question, and to remember. Edward V and his brother Richard were not ordinary children. They were the future of the House of York, born into a world where their every move was watched and their destinies shaped by the ambitions of others. Edward, born in 1470, was raised to rule. From a young age, he was surrounded by tutors and advisors, learning the arts of statecraft, diplomacy, and war. He was taught not just to read and write, but to understand the delicate balance of power that held the kingdom together. When his father died, Edward became king at just 12 years old, a child forced to shoulder the weight of a crown. Richard, 3 years younger, was lively and confident, with a quick mind and a strong will. He was married young for political gain, a pawn in the alliances that shaped the royal court. Despite his youth, Richard was already learning how to navigate the treacherous waters of medieval politics. Together, the brothers symbolized hope for peace after decades of brutal civil war. Their presence promised a new era, one where the bloodshed of the Wars of the Roses might finally end. But their world was fraught with danger. The Wars of the Roses had left England scarred and loyalty fragile. The kingdom was still haunted by old rivalries, and the threat of rebellion lingered in every shadowed corner. Their father, Edward IV, had seized and defended the throne by force, knowing his sons would inherit not only his crown, but also his many enemies. He tried to prepare them for the dangers ahead, but even he could not foresee the storm that was coming. When Edward IV died suddenly in 1483, the boys' lives changed overnight. The security they had known vanished, replaced by uncertainty and fear. Edward V, on his way to London for his coronation, was just a child thrust into a deadly game of power. He was escorted by loyal knights, but even their protection could not shield him from the dangers that awaited. Richard was already in the capital, both boys vulnerable in a court full of ambition and intrigue. Surrounded by adults with their own agendas, the brothers could trust few. Their uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, was named Protector, but he had ambitions of his own. The boys' safety depended on the very man who stood to gain the most from their downfall. The council meant to safeguard the boys was divided, torn by suspicion and rivalry. The princes became pawns in a struggle for control, their voices lost among the powerful men who claimed to act in their name. Instead of a glorious reign, they faced betrayal and danger at every turn. Their royal blood, once a blessing, had become a curse. The kingdom's future rested on their young shoulders, but their youth made them easy targets for those who hungered for power. The stage was set for one of history's most enduring mysteries, a tale of innocence lost, ambition unchecked, and a nation left to wonder what might have been. The princes' fate would soon be sealed within the tower's walls as the doors closed behind them and the world outside moved on. Their story is a stark reminder of how quickly innocence can be lost to power, and how the hopes of a nation can vanish in the shadows of ambition. What really happened to Edward V and Richard? Did they die in the tower, or did they simply vanish? The most enduring theory is murder, an uncle eliminating rivals for the crown. But some suggest they were imprisoned for life, hidden away to prevent rebellion. Others imagine a daring escape, with the boys spirited to safety, fueling later pretenders like Perkin Warbeck. Each theory offers a different shade of hope or horror, but none can be proven. The fate of the princes remains a blank page, inviting endless speculation. The truth, for now, is lost to time. The disappearance of the princes unleashed a storm of theories and accusations echoing through the centuries and capturing the imagination of historians and storytellers alike. Richard III is the traditional villain. He had motive, means and opportunity, and his reign was shadowed by rumours of murder. His reputation has been shaped by both contemporary accounts and later interpretations, making it difficult to separate fact from legend. Tudor writers like Thomas More and Shakespeare cemented his image as the monster who killed his nephews, weaving a narrative that has endured in popular culture and literature for generations. But Ricardian defenders argue this was propaganda, pointing to other suspects and highlighting inconsistencies in the traditional story. The Duke of Buckingham, once Richard's ally, rebelled soon after the princes vanished. Did he act alone, or to frame Richard? Some suggest his ambition and shifting loyalties made him a prime suspect. Henry Tudor, later Henry VII, had the strongest motive once he seized the throne. The princes were a threat to his rule. Eliminating them would have secured his claim and silenced opposition. Some believe Henry had them killed after his victory, blaming Richard to legitimize his own reign. This theory suggests that history was rewritten by the victors, leaving us with more questions than answers. The web of suspects and motives is tangled, and every theory has its champions. Each new piece of evidence seems to deepen the mystery rather than solve it. The truth is obscured by political spin and centuries of debate, with each generation reinterpreting the evidence through its own lens. The mystery endures because every answer raises new questions, ensuring that the fate of the princes remains one of history's most enduring enigmas. To understand the mystery, we must examine Richard, Duke of Gloucester. Loyal brother, skilled soldier and trusted administrator, Richard was named Lord Protector for his nephew Edward V. But the court was divided, with the ambitious Woodville family vying for control. Richard and his allies distrusted the Woodvilles, fearing they'd dominate the young king. Richard intercepted Edward V, arrested his guardians and took control. The coronation was postponed. Both princes were housed in the Tower. Richard then claimed Edward IV's marriage was invalid, making his nephews illegitimate. This cleared Richard's path to the throne. He was crowned King Richard III. The princes, stripped of their titles, remained in the Tower. Soon after, they vanished from public view. The Protector had become king, the heirs had become prisoners. The transformation was swift, ruthless, and shrouded in suspicion. The fate of the princes would forever define Richard's legacy. After Richard III's coronation, the princes were seen less and less. Italian observer Dominic Mancini reported the boys playing in the Tower Gardens, but noted Edward V's growing fear and withdrawal. Soon the princes disappeared from public view, becoming ghosts within their own prison. Mancini left England before their fate was known, but his account ends ominously. No one saw the boys after Richard took the throne. Later Tudor writers, like Thomas More, claimed the boys were murdered on Richard's orders, smothered in their sleep. More's story, vivid and gruesome, became the accepted version for centuries, but it was written decades later, likely as Tudor propaganda, The official records are silent. The truth remains elusive. The last sightings are shrouded in fear, rumor, and uncertainty. The princes faded into legend, their fate a chilling enigma. For centuries, the fate of the princes was rumor. Until 1674, when workmen found two small skeletons beneath a tower staircase. The discovery matched Thomas More's account, and King Charles II ordered the bones buried in Westminster Abbey. Many believed the mystery was solved, but doubts lingered. In 1933, the bones were re-examined. They matched the princes' ages, but the science was limited. Modern experts questioned the findings. Methods were crude, and the evidence thin. Calls for DNA testing have been denied, leaving the bones' identity unproven. If tested, DNA could confirm if the remains are truly those of Edward and Richard. Until then, the bones are both a clue and a frustration. The discovery brought no closure, only more questions. The urn in Westminster Abbey is a symbol of hope and doubt. The princes' story remains unresolved, their resting place uncertain. The evidence is compelling, but not conclusive. The tower keeps its secrets. Why does this story still grip us after 5 centuries? It's a tale of innocence lost, of children betrayed by those meant to protect them. The image of 2 boys trapped in the tower is haunting and universal. The mystery is the ultimate cold case, a puzzle with no final answer. We become detectives, sifting through motives and evidence, debating suspects from Richard III to Henry VII. The prince's fate is inseparable from Richard's reputation, villain or victim of propaganda. The debate over his legacy keeps the story alive. The silence around the princes is a void where truth should be. Their story reminds us how fragile history and truth can be. We've traced the prince's journey from royal heirs to vanished legends. The suspects, Richard III, Buckingham, Henry VII, all had motive and opportunity. The evidence is circumstantial. The facts: few 2 boys entered the tower in 1483 and were never seen again. Everything else is rumor, theory, and debate. The mystery endures because history offers only silence, not certainty. Was Richard the villain, or was the truth buried by his enemies? The question is now yours. What do you believe happened to the princes in the tower? Share your theories and let the debate continue.